friends, this is Laura with Potpourri of Life. I hope that you're doing great. Today what I am doing, and I know it's been a little while since I've actually been physically on video here, and part of it is I'm doing some healthy things, like I'm decluttering. We are going through different areas of the house and either donating, bagging it to trash, or there's some things that I'll be selling too, just to kind of get rid of the excess. And that's something that I've been working on for a while. It's not only with healthy eating, but also with herbs, but it's also in decluttering our lives that make us healthy. So what I'm working with today is, as you know, I try to use up what I have that's in the house. The other night I made a meal and I made extra mashed potatoes because I haven't had mashed potatoes in a while and I love mashed potatoes, but I made sure I only took one serving. So I have some mashed potatoes. I'm going to make 2 meals out of this. Here I have a pound of Hamburg from the butcher, and that's, let's see, what else do I got? I did pick up some of this vegetable soup mix. This is Mother Earth products, and the only reason I'm putting this in here is to give it a little bit of extra nutrients. Now I have a bunch of dried vegetables of my own that I could throw in there, but I thought I'm going to try this. Now what's in here are carrot flakes. I don't have any carrots today. I do have some that I canned, but I don't have them here. Some chopped white onions, although I do have an onion that I will be adding in. Let's see, some tomato flakes, some peas, celery flakes, green bell peppers. My husband won't be happy, but I think it's being stirred in and stuff, he won't have a problem. Green beans and parsley flakes. So why I'm using this, first of all, I wanted to get this. This, by the way, if you order it, it's like 10 ounces, and it's kind of expensive in my opinion, but it has everything in there, and if you're in a need to have a quick soup, this is pretty good to have. And it takes half a cup of this to a cup of water, I believe. Yeah, 1 cup of water, and it allows you to make a soup if you're in need of a soup and you don't have any cans on hand. That is why I started purchasing some dried vegetables that I haven't been able to do yet, because it's just an extra thing to have on hand if the electricity's out. A lot of people here in New Hampshire lost their electricity for up to 5 days. We had a real good storm, winter storm that came through, and I don't know if I put it on video yet, but I lost some branches off my lilacs, and we have a ton of lilacs. So what I did was I brought them in. I'm getting the roots right now. I did this last night. I've got the roots in the water because what I'll be doing later is I'm going to be putting them into some soil and see if I can get them to have new plants. So do I need more lilac bushes? Absolutely not. But I want to experiment and see how that does. So we'll see how that goes. I believe my lilacs will be fine. They lost quite a bit, but life goes on. Sometimes in life, things like that will happen. Nature is going to take over. That was the worst of it. We did get some extra water, but not like we sometimes can. We were able to enjoy having heat. We did not lose our electricity. We still had heat, but we're always prepared. We always have candles. We always have extra blankets, and we always have extra thermals and stuff like that, so we can stay warm. And my stove here, I can manually light a burner in order to cook a meal. So I don't worry too much about it, because usually our utility companies are great at restoring the best that they can. So what I have is I am going to take this hamburger. I'm making 2 meals. I'm going to take the hamburger and get that ground up and cooked. I took this out so it's defrosted, so it should go pretty easy for me. Although I prefer my burger in square blocks like I usually get, this was done in these packets, and it's not so bad because as soon as you get it in there, you're cooking more of it more evenly right away. So both have its benefits and others don't. So there's that. We're going to get this started. And why have I not put butter in? Because I'm going to let the meat fat do its thing. Now, there's not a lot of meat fat in there, I don't believe, so we'll find out. So let me get this onion all chopped up. So, 1 second. Whatever's left of vegetables, I'll give to the birds. So, let's see what... They'll even take the onion skins. And a lot of people don't feed their chickens the onions, but I do. They don't get a lot, but they seem to like them, and they prefer them cooked. Our birds actually have personalities, and we had a squash that was starting to go, and so that we had stored down cellar, and I put it out there. Now most people, I hear other people saying that their birds will sit there and eat the seeds. Not mine. I apparently have spoiled them beyond belief, because they only like their food cooked or the grains from the grain store. Poor them. Actually, poor me, because I do succumb to helping them. But a lot of times now, I'm just like letting them do what they need to do. So what I am making, the two things that I am making are going to be, I'm making a shepherd's pie. I have not made one in a very long time. And I know that a lot of people might put in peas and other stuff. I generally just put in corn. I generally just use the meat. And I generally just, that's about it, with potatoes on top, with leftovers. So we'll see how this turns out. Plus, with this added item of extra vegetables, it'll actually be kind of handy to have. So while that's going, now the other thing that I'm going to be doing is making up like a taco mix, and that's where the black beans are going to come into play. Now let me see what I got here. Sorry if I'm blocking things off too much. So the reason I'm taking 1 pound of beef and making 2 meals is because it's just my husband and I. I'm not feeding a crowd of people. I am just making something for both he and I. Now, I'm the one who likes tacos far more than he does. I don't have any lettuce because I don't have it. I ran out. And so I'm just going to have it like as a side dish. And because of the vegetables, I feel like I'm just going to eat it just like a taco mix almost, maybe. I haven't decided really, because what I did do is I can my chips and stuff so they don't go stale in their box. This here is some gluten-free. They're called Simply Thin's sea salt type crackers. So I might use these and dip it into that. Now I do have some gluten-free type chips that I could use as taco chips. But I decided that I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to be tempted to eat too much. So the first thing we're doing is we are browning this up. And while I'm getting that ready, I am going to set the heat to the oven to 400 and get that started. I don't know about those of you in other parts of the country, but today in New Hampshire, it is gorgeous out. It's the 9th of April. Yesterday was the whole eclipse thing, and yesterday was absolutely heavenly. And no, I did not go follow the eclipse. I just wasn't in the mood, and nor my husband had to work. He got to see it though. I guess there was a fire alarm. There was a fire in an area. I said, did somebody set it so you guys could go see this? He goes, no, that's what they're all saying. But he got to see the eclipse. People were sharing the glasses, so everybody had an opportunity, which I thought was great. And I did step out for a moment around, it was here in the Concord area around 3:30. And I stepped out, but it was too bright because I noticed outside the window it was getting pretty dark, and that's typically what happens. Your area gets kind of dark and You have to be very careful because if you look at the sun, it can be very painful. It can actually do damage to your retina. That's why they sell those crazy glasses. But I knew that, and I know that around 2:30 or 3, when it was around 2:30 when it was starting, I did go out to the chickens, never looked up at the sky because I just didn't want to deal with that potential. So, but it was a gorgeous day, and I've seen pictures of it that people have shared. It was a gorgeous eclipse. They say the next one is expected in, but it's not going to be here in New Hampshire. It's going to be in 2045. I'll be 75 then. I'm not sure I'll want to go chasing an eclipse, but who knows? Maybe I'll be young at heart and really go crazy. All right, so I've got this browning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in my tomatoes, and I'm going to add in my corn, and I'm going to add in some of those dried vegetables. And this is why it's those of you who do not can, you might want to consider learning, because if you get extra vegetables, you go to a farm stand in the summertime, it's kind of nice to have. If you don't, pick up a can or two to have on your shelf so you could throw together a quick meal. To me, this is a quick meal. So that's 1 pint of tomatoes that I'm throwing in. This is not going by any recipe. This is just going by what I want to do. Okay, so there's that. I've got the corn that I canned. This is sweet corn that I picked up at the farm stand last year. And I'm going to let some of this water out. I don't mind the tomato juice. Now, to me, this seems like it's more than enough vegetables. Somebody else might not agree, but this is what we're having. So far, everything is something that's palatable for both of us. The next item I'm going to get ready, let me put a few things away here. I'm going to turn this down. I was cooking it at a medium heat. I'm now turning it down to low to kind of get things absorbed. And that's when I'm going to be putting in my dried veggies. Let me get a spoon here. And I'm not going to put in a lot because there's plenty of tomatoes in here and plenty of corn. But it doesn't hurt to add a little bit, a couple tablespoons of this. Now, I'm putting it in dry right now. I'm not putting it in water or anything. Okay, that was about 4 scoops. I'm not sure it was, I don't think that was a tablespoon. It's like 2 teaspoons maybe 4 tablespoons. But anyways, so that's that. The reason I did not soak these is because as this is on low, the fluid from the water from the tomatoes and the grease from the hamburger, the fat from that, is all going to absorb, and these vegetables are going to absorb it, making it a little bit more full. And I can see some of the peas coming out. It's kind of exciting to kind of do something fun like this. Now, I put the onions in already. Now, another thing that I'm going to put in, let's see, I have a garlic. I was going to put dried garlic in, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to put a fresh garlic in. Or 2, a couple garlic cloves. So I'm just cutting off the ends to get these. Now I do have a garlic press, and I'm not using it because I'm going to get what I want with what I'm going to do, and I'll show you in a second what I'm doing. And many people do this. I do it from time to time depending on what I'm making. Give that to the chickens. So I just take this and I crush it this way on the flat side of the knife, and then I kind of like mince it a little bit. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm mincing it. I really am. So I just minced it up. I have another garlic clove that I'm going to do the same thing. Now, some of you might not have garlic on hand. That's okay. You might have dried garlic. That's what I almost put in, and then I realized, no, I got fresh garlic. I want to use it before it goes bad. Let's see if there's anything else. I have dried onion. But yeah, if you have minced garlic, go ahead and throw that in. Now, you might not have dried minced garlic. This would be an opportunity to use it because of the liquids in the meal. But you might have the garlic in a jar that you pick up at the store. You might want to put in your honey infused garlic. That is okay too, to give it a sweeter flavor if that's what you're looking for. A lot of recipes that you'll see in cookbooks, online, and so forth, it's all a matter of you adjusting it to what you want. Now, I'm just making this up right now because that's what I do sometimes. Now, I'm looking here, and it looks like a lot of those freeze-dried vegetables are soaking in really well. What I'm going to do next is I am going to put part of this into a pan to bake. That's why I'm saying I'm making 2 meals. Now, my husband is not a huge fan of shepherd pie, but because I don't make it all the time, I was telling him what I was going to do, and he's fine. He's not a taco person, but he will use it because I could take the tacos and put that on a rice if I wanted. Actually, that's what I might do instead of using the chips. So what I'm doing with this is I'm just layering the bottom of this pan. This is a small 7x9 type pan. And I'm basically taking half of this recipe that's in the pan here and putting it all in here. Now, I'm a huge person that loves to have meat on hand. Now, if you don't, you can definitely make a dish like this with black beans. You can use, trying to think, refried beans and stuff like that. And you can do the same thing. And it actually turns out okay. When I talk about refried beans, my family has a tendency to say, ooh, but I like them. I don't eat them plain. I just like them mixed in. So before I go on to the taco type meal, I am going to take the mashed potatoes and put it on top. Oh, one thing I didn't put in. Let's get some salt on there. Now, this is not your typical table salt, the iodized salt. This is just sea salt that I use. And now let's put on the potatoes. And just like that, the recipe, the stove, the oven is all set. Now, it might not cover it all. It might. And what I like to do with anything with potatoes, rice, and all that kind of stuff, is I like to put paprika on my dishes. So I'm going to top this with paprika. The pan is hot, but I haven't baked it yet. So I'm going to put this into the oven for about 30 minutes. By then, this taco blend should be ready. You don't want that to drop. All right. So we'll let that finish. What I am now going to do to finish this up is, let's see, I am going to put in some black beans into this taco type meal. Actually, I want to drain it out too. Do you have to drain it out? It's really up to you. Now you can your own black beans. I just, I used up what I had. That's why I keep cans on hand like this. And just mix that in. Now the one thing that I'm going to add in, I do not have any taco seasoning, so I had some that I picked up to have on hand. I do have a recipe that I will be making a jar of it because I like to have it on my own so I can sprinkle in and use whatever I want to season how I want. Now, I'm not going to use this whole packet because I'm not going to. I don't like to use all the packets because of the different things. It says it's not bioengineered. It doesn't claim that. It's just there's no comment on here that says it's bioengineered. But these usually have salt in it. This has spices, some maltodextrin, salt, dextrose, cornstarch, onion powder, and natural flavors. Natural flavors are generally from vegetables. Do I believe it? Not always. But this is on hand, and I'm trying to make a quick meal. And I'm also trying to, as I share things with people, to let them know that as much as we all would like to have everything all homemade and yummy and fun and stuff, sometimes having little packets like this on hand can help as we're trying to make something. Now, another reason not to use the whole packet. Personally, I don't think we need to, so I'm just taking 2 big spoonfuls out of here, and I can use the rest in another recipe if I'd like. It's just me that's going to probably enjoy this more than my husband. So why would I want to make a huge packet? Well, I don't, because my husband will not enjoy it, and that way I can save the rest, put it in a sealed bag, and it'll be fine for me. And it smells wonderful. Okay. Now I'm going to put a little bit of salt in here as well. Make sure that's turned down all the way. And then what I'm going to do, a lot of times we put cheese on top of tacos and stuff. Well, I've got this cheese sitting here and I want to use it up. I'm going to use half of it here. I should have put it in the shepherd's pie. That's something that you can do, is you can put cheese on the layer before you put the potatoes. I should have done that. You know what I'm going to do? Watch what I do. This is how I cook. I'm like, ooh, we could. And it usually turns out really, really well. So I think that's what I'm going to do because I really don't want all that cheese myself. So I don't know if you can see it, but I'm just taking a handful and I'm 2 handfuls. putting it right on the top so that it melts through. My husband likes cheese, so that's the reason I'm choosing to do that. Let that finish cooking up. Now I can put the cheese in this. And the reason I want to use this cheese, I don't want to use it all, and the rest of this little bit of cheese, he can either put on the potato dish or he can put it in an egg dish tomorrow. So you don't have to use a whole package if you don't want to, but like I could make him, if I get around to making some biscuits, some homemade English muffins or something, I could make him an English muffin with an egg, top it off with that and some bacon. He would love it. But anyways, so just a little bit of cheese, it kind of tones down the hot, spicy flavor. And this is all set. So I'm going to let that cool. The pot pie, oh excuse me, the pot pie, that's not the pot pie. The shepherd's pie is cooking now, so I'm going to clean up my mess, and then when that comes out of the oven, I will show you what it looks like. I will be back. Well, I'm back. Everything's cooked. I did take out the shepherd's pie 10 minutes early because it's a small unit and it cooked fine. It finished up early. So, and remember we cooked it, the meat and all the insides already completely. And this is what the shepherd pie looks like. Isn't that awesome? And it looks beautiful, and I'm sure it's going to be tasty. This here is my taco mix, and like I said, I'm not sure if I really want to open up the chips and use that. I think I'm going to just have this almost just like a protein type side dish, and you can see the cheese in there. And so about 3 little scoops will be sufficient for me. And so that's what the taco mix looks like. Now you can put this with taco chips. Like I said, I have some. I'm just not in the mood for chips today. And then I have these gluten-free chips I'm going to put back down cellar because I'm not hungry for those. So what I used was 1 pint of canned tomatoes, 1 pint of corn. That's the same size as a regular can of vegetables. You can use dried veggies if you want or not. It's really whatever your liking is. And I think you will find that it tastes pretty good just the same. So you brown your hamburger, about a pound. You throw in the black beans went in after. So what I did was the hamburger and the vegetables, the dry stuff, the garlic, the onion, all that went in first. Cooked it up, put half of it into a small baking dish so that I could use the leftover potatoes that I already had on hand. So I could make a shepherd's pie, and I put paprika on top. I love using paprika. And so for the taco, I just took all that stuff and then added in the black beans, cooked it up, added some cheese into both. As you saw, I put the cheese on last on the other one. Oops. But it still melted in there quite nicely. That's 2 meals, and I'll be honest with you, this is a small dish for David and I. This here is 6 servings. We don't have big servings here, but this will serve us for 6 meals. So that's 6 meals so far, probably 6 to 8. I'm going to say about 6 of the taco mix that I made. That is 12 individual servings out of 1 pound of hamburger. And I'd like to share different ideas. And remember, I used cheese that was already in my refrigerator to use it up, and I didn't use a lot. At this juncture in life where people are worried about how much money they have and how can they stretch their dollars, if you get some good quality hamburger, this was from a butcher, so it was grass-fed beef that I'm using. You might find that if you're using grass-fed beef, if you can get it at the butcher, all the better, and it will be a little bit more expensive, but you will find that your belly will be more full. With the taco mix that I made, it'll actually be, or you can call it chili. I guess some people want to call it a chili. It's really thick. It's kind of cool. Oh no, it's taco mix. In that taco mix packet, I don't even know if I used the full half. I used 2 big spoons of it and put it. It does taste like tacos. It's pretty awesome. So that's all you do. Now, you might not have dried vegetables on hand. You can dehydrate some of your vegetables. I dehydrate my peas. I dehydrate my corn. I have not dehydrated carrots, and I buy those dehydrated. You got to do whatever works for you. And if you don't have a dehydrator, or if you do not have a freeze dryer, I don't have a freeze dryer, and at this juncture, it's not in our budget. So, and the cost to run it, our electric bill is already a lot higher than it ever was. Not recently, but over the last couple of years. And so I don't want to have to use more utilities if I can avoid it. So, but sometimes I looked at the price of buying the unit. I found that it would be more expensive than just buy the containers that I use. So, with what I put into this, I think I've made really good. Like, this will keep me satisfied. The beans, the organic beef, and then the vegetables will actually fill me. This will be enough. So you saw me put in 3 scoops. This will be sufficient for me. And with no stress, I won't go for second servings. That's been one of my problems is I'm stressed. It's like, oh, that was good. That's one thing that I'd like to share with you, and I'll share it in another video, is sometimes we like something really well, or during times of stress, and we've had a lot of that over the years, we can overconsume. And my goal is to reduce, for both David and I, we're both on this mission to lose weight, not a ton, but enough to be in a healthier state. If you eat food that is wholesome, you will find that your body will go down. But when you're stressed and you have other things going on, you find yourself eating even those healthy foods too much. I found that I was eating too many nuts, and I would take dark chocolate a little more than I should have. So dark chocolate is off the table for at least a week for me. I hope. I might change my mind. You got to have a little bit of chocolate in life. Well, anyways, that's detoured here. So 2 meals, 12 servings. Not 12 meals, 12 servings. So that's 12 people. It could be like David and I, that's 1, 2, 3, that's 6 meals for us. So I can take this, like with the shepherd's pie. After he has some, he'll get home from work and he'll try some. He will probably have a little bit, and then we'll cut it in servings, and I will stick them in the freezer, although 1 or 2 servings into the refrigerator, because I know he will not eat the taco mix. Now, if you have salad, I wish I had some lettuce on hand. And I'm actually going to the grocery store tomorrow, so I'll see what the lettuce looks like. I would put this mix right on top of my lettuce mix, so it gets a little bit, you change the meal up a little bit. You can do that, folks. So I hope this was helpful. I actually hope it gives you an inspiration to look in your refrigerator and see what you have. This weekend I was in there and we cleaned out the refrigerator, because I like to do that every weekend, just to see what we have. And my snack food is grapes and blueberries. I'll show you. What I do is I put the blueberries in a jar, and the grapes I keep in water to keep them fresher. I wash them up, then I put a fresh water over them, a filtered water, and they last so much longer. So we don't feel like we have to hurry through the grapes. We can take a 5, 6 handful of grapes or a handful of blueberries, and I use the blueberries on the yogurts that I make. And it's just something that pushes us through. You know, gives us something of a sweet tooth need. I don't know if I just said that right, but that's what we're doing. So it feels good to have this done. I've had a few days where it's just like, oh, I don't want to cook. That's why I make meals ahead of time, because I might be in the mood to cook tomorrow, but I have extras that might be in the freezer that I can pull out on a day that I just don't want to cook. And I know I need to eat something healthy. Friends, I hope you're having a great day, and I pray that God is blessing you. Be blessed.